Welcome everyone. I am just going to hop right in here and get started. People will start filtering in as we go because I'm doing this live, but I want to keep today's training short and sweet. I'm going to try to knock over 20, maybe 30 minutes. But I put out some questions on my IG stories and my Facebook stories about what topic people wanted me to cover in today's live training. And I got a really, really good one here. I just want to read it directly so I don't butcher it. But one of my one of my students from my Mindset Shift course said, what's a good way to realize the difference between true productivity or slash accomplishment towards your goals versus busy distraction, procrastination, but still getting things done? And I think that's an amazing question, right? So productivity versus busy work, as I'll call it. So busy work is my way of talking about the things that we do on a day-to-day basis that make us feel as if we accomplish something, but they don't actually move the needle towards where we're trying to be in life. And this can be very problematic for several reasons. One, because as I just said, it doesn't actually move the needle, right? So if you have a goal of getting wherever you're going, whatever the thing that you're trying to work on is, whether again it's business, health, relationships, you have a goal that you're trying to achieve. We have to understand that energy is finite, and so is time. We only have so many hours in the day. We only have so much energy in those waking hours that we have. So we need to be very deliberate with how and where we spend that energy. So when we get too caught up with busy work, we don't leave time for the things that are actually going to move the needle towards where we actually want to be. It then becomes doubly problematic because even though we aren't getting closer to our goal, we feel accomplished. So it gives us a false sense of security, because it's not like I'm doing nothing, right? It's not like I'm just sitting around watching Netflix, or I'm smoking weed, or I'm just like whatever, screwing off somewhere. I'm working, right? I'm trying to get to email inbox zero, right? The mystical email inbox zero. Can't do, I gotta get through all these emails, even though they're BS emails. I went grocery shopping. I did my laundry. These are things that may or may not need to be done, right? We have to go grocery shopping. I can't not grocery shop. My laundry has to get done. So we add these things to our lists, and then when we get to the end of the day, we did stuff, right? We did our laundry. We went grocery shopping. We answered emails. We responded to something that happened, the day before. But did that get us to where we need to be? That's the real question that we need to ask. So, and the reason that this is so important is because that false sense of security then will backfire on us, because then fast forward a month, 2 months, 6 months, whatever time frame that you want to look at, you look back and you're like, how come I haven't accomplished my goal, right? It's like, I've been doing the work, but I'm not getting the result. And when you get that feeling, this is human nature. Humans, we are not going to do something that we are not getting paid for, right? Where no one's going to go to a job every day and show up if you're not getting a paycheck. And you're not going to continue to put in effort and action towards a goal if you're not getting any closer to that goal. If you're not actually taking action towards that goal, then it's logical to realize why you wouldn't be any closer to that goal, right? So say my goal is to start a business, right? My goal is to start a successful e-commerce business where I sell dog toys on Shopify, right? Now, if I just say that's my goal and I never do anything to work towards that goal, and 6 months from now I go, how come I'm not a successful e-commerce businessman? And I go, well, if I'm being honest, I did literally nothing to work towards my goal, so it makes sense that I wouldn't be a successful businessman. Maybe I'll start working towards it now, and then I can really take it seriously. But if I say I want to be a successful businessman, and then 6 months from now I'm looking back and I'm like, how come I haven't achieved my goal? But I've placated myself with these false sense of security of like, well, I was working hard every day. I answered all my emails, and I did my to-do list, and I checked off all these things. Now it's like I did the work, but I didn't get the result. And that is a combination that our brain hates. Doing the work but not getting the result. So now it's going to, instead of saying, well, okay, I admit that I didn't really do the thing, I'll try harder now. Instead, it'll say, whoa, I worked really hard and I didn't get a result. Now I'm going to quit. So it's a big thing that actually holds people back, because again, they think they're doing themselves a service by being, well, yeah, I'm working through all this stuff. I'm doing all the things. I'm getting things done. But you're actually doing yourself a disservice if you're not moving yourself towards the greater goal. So I think that's why I love this question, and I think it's super important, because I myself fall into this trap all the time. I am the king of busy work. I love getting to the end of a day. I wake up at 5 a.m. Somehow, when I'm getting ready for bed at 9 p.m., that's, I don't know, 12, 14 hours or 15, I don't know, a crazy amount of hours. And I was busy the entire time. I didn't watch any Netflix. I didn't do anything that's not productive, and yet I produced nothing. Those days come to me all the time. And I had to get very serious about this when I really wanted to start working on my business, because I knew that was my own toxic trait, as the kids say. So thing that really helped me, and this is not my idea, there's a book. It's called The One Thing. The One Thing, I'm just going to read it straight from here because they break it down better than I could. What is the one thing that you can do this week such that by doing it, everything else would be easier or unnecessary? All right? The one thing. So this is how we need to speak about our goals, right? So when we're talking about being productive, what is being productive? What does that mean to us? Well, we have a greater goal. So this is why goal setting, anyone who's in my course knows this, we go over goal setting week 2 and how to set proper goals. Because we have to have a thing to work towards, right? If we want to be productive, we're producing something towards a greater goal. So now we have that bigger goal of that, my grand goal of becoming a Shopify e-commerce master. That's my big goal. So now my one thing to make sure that I am being productive and not busy is, what is my one thing that this week I need to do to move myself closer to that goal? And again, the one thing that if I do that one thing, everything else becomes easier or unnecessary. So now every decision that I have to make about my business and my day goes through that filter. So maybe it's I have to get my Shopify store up. I have to, register or whatever. And I don't know anything about Shopify. I'm just using this as an example. But maybe that's the thing, right? So that's my one thing for the week. Every other thing that comes across my plate, my email, my calendar, whatever, runs through that filter. Is this getting that thing done? Is doing my emails getting that thing done? Is answering phone calls, getting that thing done? Is whatever the thing is it getting me closer to that one goal? Because that one goal unlocks everything else. If my goal is to sell more on Shopify, I can answer all the emails, I can answer all the phone calls, I can record all the content, right? This is another big one. I record content sometimes. Is that moving me towards the one goal? So the one thing is always where I'm coming back to in terms of creating a weekly goal, because we have the bigger goal, but we need to then have process-oriented goals that move us towards that one big goal. And that's where the weekly one thing comes in. Then I can go even deeper than that. If my weekly one thing is to get my Shopify store up by the end of the day, I can then each day wake up and say, what is my one thing for the day? What is that one thing that I need to accomplish for today? That if I go to sleep tonight having accomplished this one thing, I will say that today was a success. That's what I want to think about. So this is why I do not like to-do lists. I do not like to-do lists for this exact reason, because to-do lists are busy work. If we think about the one thing, the reason that is so powerful is because it's one thing. It is not a list of things. It is not a laundry list. To-do lists are never ending. There is always more to do. in the year 2021, when you're watching this or in the future, there's always more to do. There emails, phone calls, texts, Slacks, Skypes, Zooms, they come in every second. There is never going to be a time where you do not have more to do. So we do not want our to-do list to start running our life. Much more important are our to-don'ts. Because again, coming back to the one thing, instead of thinking about all the things I need to do, I need to think about the things I need to not do in order to free up that mental space and that mental energy and that time for me to focus on my one thing, right? Everything circles back to the one thing. So if I'm trying to create a business in the same example, and I'm trying to be the CEO of this business, maybe my to-don't list is answering emails, because answering emails doesn't get me on that track, but emails still need to be answered. So either I hire someone, or I set aside one day, an afternoon on Sundays when that's usually my day off or something like that, and I set aside 3 hours to go back and batch process emails or something like that. But I have to get it off my plate so that it's not there buzzing around in the back of my head, and I know that I can focus, again, my time, my energy, my momentum on the one thing. So this is why when we do goal setting in my course, and I've done other trainings on this that you can find on my Instagram, on my Facebook, when we do goal setting, I always talk about big goals and little goals, right? Far out goals, because those are the goals that get our brain spinning of like, if I only think about today, it's very easy to, again, get caught up in busy work, because it's like, well, I need to get my groceries done today. I need to get my laundry done today. That's the goal for the day. But if I'm thinking about my 6 months from now goal, my year from now goal, and then I'm using that to say, okay, work retroactively, to work backwards and say, all right, a year from now, this is where I want to be. What do I need to accomplish this week to set myself up to be in the best position to move towards that goal? And then again, work retroactively. Okay, if that's where I need to be by the end of the week, where do I need to be today? And I just keep breaking it down in smaller chunks like that. But I like the rule of thinking about it from a day by day and then a week by week perspective, and thinking about, how do I know that I accomplished this, that I moved the needle again? So that's why the direct difference I want to make is that this type of stuff you get done with, but it doesn't actually get you closer to the thing that you want to do. You did something, no one's taking away from that, but the goal isn't to be more productive for the sake of being productive, right? The goal is to be more productive to move you towards your goal, right? So we don't need infinite to-do lists. We don't need to just continue to do more, because in reality, although it feels good in that moment, right? We have those little dopamine buttons, right? To check things off a box. Feels good. Checkbox, check. Oh, I did that. Oh, today I had to do laundry and do groceries and do emails, and I did all three. Oh, I did so much today, right? It's placating ourselves. It's a form of mental masturbation where we're just like giving ourselves pats on the back. But if we're honest with ourselves, we know that that's really not the case. So how do we decide our one thing? That has to do with, again, having your vision for the future, the goal in the future, and then breaking it down into small enough pieces so that we're able to see daily, weekly, monthly, the steps we need to move forward, right? So if I have a year-long goal of being at $1 million in sales, I might break that down quarterly and say, okay, by Q3, I need to be at this number of sales. Okay, to get there, now I can break that down even more. Okay, Q3, I'm in Q2. So now if I need to be at this X number of sales by Q3, and here I am in Q2 at this, then what do I need to do again this week and today to move the needle towards the quarterly goal, which moves the needle towards the bigger end goal. But everything has to be done with the one thing in mind, with the one bigger goal in mind. And another thing that I'm going to steal from another famous productivity person, I don't know what the hell you can call him, Brian Tracy, who's one of the biggest motivational speakers. in the world ever of all time. You should look him up. But he has a book and a concept called Eat the Frog, right? We all have the one thing that we know we're supposed to do. It's probably the big thing, and that's probably the thing we're always moving to the end of our to-do list. The one thing and the frog are very similar, right? Eat the frog first thing in the morning, right? So if there's that one thing that I've kind of been putting off, that I'm like, this is the thing I know I really need to do. I know I need to get on live, but let me go answer my emails first. I know I need to get on live, but let me do that thing first thing in the morning. Get it done with, right? So that's, again, breaks down to the same idea. If I have my one thing for the week and then my one thing for the day, I can get even more proactive and say, as soon as I have my one thing for the day, I make that the very first thing that happens for the day. So when I wake up, after I do my morning routine or whatever it is I'm doing, I set 2 hours of concerned work for doing my one thing for the day. I eat the frog first thing in the morning, because if we don't, as I said, just a few minutes ago, life starts to happen, right? We go, okay, I know what my one thing is, but I'm going to get to it later in today. And then the kids call, and you got to pick up someone from school that you didn't think you were going to have to, and then the car won't do this, and it's snowing outside, and I got a shovel, and all of a sudden, our one thing gets pushed to the side and pushed to the side and pushed to the side. So I like a combination of these two ideas of using, again, the bigger goal that's out in the future, breaking it down into chunks, working retroactively, reverse until we get into the smallest one thing for the week and the day, and then using the concept of eating the frog, getting it done first thing in the morning, or the first thing whenever you wake up, whenever you have the time, to make sure that we get it done with, and that we don't let the to-do list take over. Because sometimes we do have stuff to do, right? I'm saying, like, don't do groceries, we have to do that stuff sometimes, right? Of course, you need groceries, you need to do laundry, and I get that. But the point is, we can't let that come before the one thing. We can't let that come before working towards our goal. We can't let that come before the needle movers, all right? So a lot of this also just comes down to being honest, right? We know inside when we're doing something if this is going to move the needle. Is this the thing I really need to be focusing on? Is this the thing that really is where I should be spending my energy? So there's a level of just being honest with yourself, but there's also a level of planning ahead. Because when we plan ahead and we write it out, again, anyone who's in my course knows that I'm big on writing things out. We take notes. We have whiteboards all over. I make everyone buy sticky notes to write these things. It should be top of mind. Should be writing out your goals for the year, then breaking it down by quarter, then writing, okay, if that's my goal for the quarter, what do I need to do this week? And if that's what I need to do this week, what do I need to do Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday? It seems like a lot, but it's only one thing. And if that's the one thing that's going to get you so much closer to your goal, your goal of financial freedom, your goal of fitness, your goal of health, your goal of losing weight, your goal of having a better relationship with someone or other, that's the best thing that we can be doing, right? It's like, what else would we want to be putting our energy, our time, and our emotion into? So I hope that this was helpful, right? Busy work is, to me, almost worse than no work, because, again, it placates us. It makes us feel better about doing nothing, because in reality, if we're not moving towards our goal, it doesn't help, right? It's just as good as doing nothing. At least when I sit around and watch Netflix, I know that that's probably not what I should have been doing. But when I do busy work all day, I can pat myself in the back and go, oh, it's all right, like at least I got all that stuff done. But again, if it wasn't moving the needle, if it didn't get me closer to my end goal, my one true thing, my thing that I know that I need to be working on, then it wasn't what's best serving me. All right? So I break it down, I plan it out, I write it down, and then I eat the frog every morning. The first thing in the morning. The thing I wake up and I'm like, shit. I know like, as soon as my brain starts going and I'm like, I have to do 2 hours of client calls today. And I'm like, what if let me just open my phone and check Facebook. I'm like, no, the thing that I'm trying to distract myself from is quite often the thing that I know that I need to be putting my time and energy into. Because the reason I'm trying to distract myself from it with busy work, with to-do list stuff, is because it's hard and it's uncomfortable. And we always want to err away from that stuff. So use that and lean into it. And remember, there's only one thing. What is the one thing that will make everything else irrelevant? as it pertains to your one greater goal. So to just make this super simple, say this is a weight loss thing. What's the one thing? Then it might be grocery shopping, right? So I've been trashing grocery shopping this whole time, but your one thing, if your goal is to lose weight, your one thing might be to make sure that you have fresh produce and protein in the house. And to do that, you need to make sure that you go grocery shopping. So, you could do all the reading blogs about keto and this, and you can do all the 10-minute abs and whatever, but that's just busy work in this regard. When the true one thing, the needle mover, the thing that's going to get you closer to your actual goal of losing 20 pounds is going to be making sure that you set out time in your day to go grocery shopping. And then maybe the next one thing is to make sure you then meal prep or whatever, or put the food away and don't, and I don't know what the thing is. You get what I'm saying. But yeah, so that, like, again, it's this is not just about business. This is not just about being productive in the sense of like getting things done. It's about moving towards your goal. Weight loss, working out. It doesn't matter what the thing is, because the same principles still apply. How can I go to bed at the end of each day knowing that I accomplished my one thing, and that if I do that each day, by the end of the week, I will know I will accomplish my one weekly thing. And if I do that over and over and over, rinse, repeat, suddenly 6 months from now, a year from now, I've accomplished a lot, as opposed to those same 6 months or a year passing and I've accomplished a lot, but it's nothing that I actually wanted to accomplish. I've accomplished a lot of email responses and a lot of social media posts and a lot of, I don't know, whatever busy, dumb thing that we all do that doesn't actually help us. So in a world where time is our most valuable asset, in a world where there's always going to be more to do, there's always going to be someone, something, some app, some ping vying for your time and your attention, we need to be deliberate and proactive with our time. This is the most valuable thing we have. You can make more money, right? You can anything else you can find more of, but you cannot find more time. So I'm very, very happy that this question was asked, and I hope this helps. Again, I recommend everyone read The One Thing. If you're interested in this type of stuff, as I said, mentioned in the beginning, my 6-week course, Mindset Shift, Flip Your Motivation Switch, I do an entire module just on goal setting. I do an entire other module just on habits. And it's all about this. How do we create and lock down on the things that are really going to move the needle to create lasting behavior change, whether it's in health, fitness, mindset, business, relationships, or anything else. So if that's something that you're interested in, as of recording this on February 19th or something like that, I'm going to be opening enrollment for the next iteration of that course in a few weeks, because I'm going to launch again in March. So DM me or comment on this. Just say I'm in, and I will reach out to you with some information on that. I only open the course to 10 people at a time when I'm doing it. And I'm almost finished with the current iteration, so I will be opening it again to 10 more people. I haven't opened it up yet, but if you're interested and you message me or you comment, I will let you know as soon as that happens, so that you can be one of the 10 slots. If this stuff is interesting to you, if you want to learn more about behavior change, if you want to learn more about creating habits, if you want to learn more about being productive and not just doing busy work, all of this stuff is stuff that I go over much more depth and detail in the course. So with that being said, I'm all done here. Thank you guys for joining me.